But anyway, I'm Miyoko. Thank you, Bob. And everyone, I hope that jar is making its way around the room and getting fuller as it gets passed down. Now, normally I just do straight cooking demos. That's all I do. That's my comfort zone. But this year at the Green Festival, I gave a talk on global footprint of your diet. And Dixie said, oh, why don't you do that here? Well, I didn't know that right after my talk, Dr. Oppenlander is going to be giving his talk, and he's the real pro. And I know that I'm talking to a very, very enlightened audience here who already knows a lot of this stuff. Not only are they enlightened, you guys look really hungry, too. So I'm going to try to keep the talk part really, really short so we can get on to the cooking. But I do want to talk about this because a lot of vegetarians know that, yeah, I've heard that it's better for the planet to eat a vegetarian diet, but they don't really know why. And there's new information coming out all the time about why it's such a powerful decision to make. So now the focus on reduction of greenhouse gases has been really on reducing carbon output. There's all this money being put into renewables. Everyone, is trying to recycle. They're trying to drive a Prius instead of an SUV. But the fact of the matter is, the carbon that's already in the atmosphere today is going to be around 100 years from now, even if we stop driving today. It's still going to be around, and it's still enough of a problem to raise the atmosphere, the temperature in the atmosphere. So we have to do more. We actually have to take carbon out of the atmosphere, which scientists are saying you can't do because it's cost prohibitive, the technology doesn't exist, this, that, and the other thing. But it's actually not true. There's something you can do that's very, very easy, and it's cheaper than anything, and it's very powerful, but it's not a sexy idea at all. It's something that you cannot discuss in polite company because people do not want to hear it, because it's asking you to make a change at your very core, to change something you do 3 times a day or more. But it's something you can do. Every individual can do, even if you can't buy a Prius or go out and buy a Leaf. It's not just about recycling or reusing. You know that Dana Lyons song? Do you know the vegan singer-songwriter Dana Lyons? He's really great. He does that song, Cows with Guns. You've ever heard that? It's great. You can find it on Google, on the internet. But my kids used to listen to this CD all the time, and he's got this great rap song. Recycle, reuse, again and again. That's the only way you're going to be my friend. Recycle, recycle. Boom, ba-dum, ba-reece. I can't do it, but anyway. Anyway, he's great. But I mean, it's more than that. It's really about how you eat. Okay, change the click. DB is going to click. All right, so a lot of people are now saying, well, I am changing my diet. I'm now... Oh, is it not? You just press a page down. Let's see. Right here. Just go... No, let's see. Let's go page. Right there. Okay. Maybe I think we want to just turn this just like that. So, okay, there we go. Yeah, people say, I'm a locavore now. I'm only eating things within a 100-mile radius. But what they don't realize is that most of the energy that's used, most of the greenhouse gases that are associated with food production has nothing to do with transportation. It's in operations. So the Carnegie Mellon study showed that being a locavore saves about 8%. If you're eating locavore and you're eating organic meat and dairy, it saves about 8% of energy. That's it. If you're a vegan, it saves about 94% of the energy that's necessary to grow food. Eating a plant-based diet is 7 times more effective at reducing emissions than being a locavore. Now, being a locavore is something you can tell in polite company and get kudos, applause. Everyone thinks that's a great thing. But it's just not that effective. Okay, so in 2000, no, you want to go page, so this is, that's it, right, page down. Okay, so in 2006, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization came out with a report called Livestock's Long Shadow, and they came out with a conclusion that shocked a lot of people, which is that livestock production accounts for more greenhouse gases than all of global transportation put together. So 18% for livestock production as opposed to 13% for all global transportation, trains, cars, airplanes, everything. One down. Okay. So what are we talking about in terms of greenhouse gases? It's no longer about carbon. The carbon's going to be there in 100 years. The United Nations said we need to focus on other greenhouse gases that are perhaps much more potent than carbon, but they actually dissipate. They leave the atmosphere in a much shorter time, and this is the only way we can get a handle on the problem. So a lot of people talk about methane, which is much more powerful. Livestock accounts for almost 40% of all methane in the world. Nitrous oxide, which happens to be 296% more potent than CO2 at warming the atmosphere over a 100-year period. Ammonia, which pollutes waterways and harms fish, and carbon, of course, down. Okay, but even worse, I think let me go up. Oh, maybe we didn't. Okay, so go down. Maybe it's coming up. I'm getting my own slideshow, so go back down. Go down one more and see if okay, yeah, go back up. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the waste. This is what happens with the greenhouse gases that are being put out by livestock production. Methane is 23 times the global warming potential of carbon. It's much more potent. Nitrous oxide is 296 times. Ammonia pollutes waterways, it damages aquatic life. But the good story is methane has a half-life of about 16 years. That means if we stopped eating meat right now, if we stopped all livestock production, which would be, very, very hard to do, but hypothetically, we could actually start reversing global warming. So, okay, go down one more. Now, but what's worse than all of this is that a couple of years later, after the United Nations came out with their report, a couple of analysts from the World Bank analyzed the United Nations report, and they said they got it all wrong. They undercounted cattle, they misanalyzed all this data, and the problem is much worse. It's not 18%, it's 51% of all greenhouse gases that are being contributed by livestock production. 51%. Okay, you can go down. So whether it's 18% or 51%, you take your pick. I happen to go with the World Bank guys because they were able to point out that the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, based their figures on 2002 livestock numbers, which had increased to by 12% by the time the report actually came out. So there was already a 12% underestimation in their report. They also estimated only 20 billion animals, livestock in the world, whereas non-governmental organizations state that there's actually 50 billion. They did not account for things like livestock respiration. They didn't include farmed fish, which is now a huge industry and is extreme, and it's taking up all kinds of land use. There's fluorocarbons for cooling livestock and products. And then there's things like carbon-intensive medication, not only to help the livestock, not to stay healthy, but just to keep them from dying. All what do they call, antibiotics that are given to livestock. No, not yet. We're not ready yet. Thanks. As well as the animal-borne diseases like swine flu and the degenerative diseases like heart disease that we get. Okay, so we can go down now. All right. There's a lot of real estate involved in livestock. 30% of all global non-ice landmass is occupied today by livestock, which is a phenomenal number. Most people don't realize that. People don't even believe me when I tell them. 30%. This figure is actually from the UN. What does this mean? This means that we have clear-cut and burnt all these forests. Before we occupied 30% of land with livestock, there were other species. There's 137 species being wiped out every single year because of the slash and burn method of creating pasture land for cattle. 80% of all agricultural land is for livestock. 80% of all biomass burning is to create grazing land for livestock. It's just phenomenal how much real estate livestock production takes. Okay. On the steakhouse menu, black carbon. Black carbon is one of the greenhouse gases that's a byproduct of burning rainforests and grasslands or to create pasture and areas for factory farming. There are scientists now that are estimating that if you just stopped all this burning, we could reverse Arctic and Antarctic snow melt in just a matter of weeks, 50% of it in a matter of weeks. So this is a very, very powerful method for actually reversing global warming. Okay. So 90% of soybeans, 95% of oats, 80% of all corn grown is fed to livestock in the United States. Now, I hear people on the radio, environmentalists talking about ethanol. They're complaining about ethanol and saying that ethanol is going to create food scarcity, it's taking up land, etc. It's not ethanol. It's the corn that we feed to livestock. But they don't talk about that because it's just not politically correct. It's scary. Okay, we can go down. I'm trying to rush through this because I want to get to the cooking part, which is really, really fun. Now, there is a transportation component to livestock production, and it's a lot worse than it is for just plain old veggie food. Why is that? Because there's transportation used every step along the way. If you grow some grains for us to eat, you grow the grain and then you haul it to the market, and that's about it. With livestock, you got to haul the grains to the feedlots. You got to haul the livestock to the feedlots. Then you got to haul the livestock to the slaughterhouses. Then you got to haul them to the processing facility. And then you got to haul them to the market. So it's manyfold, the amount of carbon that's used to produce livestock as well. Okay, the true cost of a cheeseburger, and this is a constant problem that people talk about. They can't afford to be a vegetarian. There's a book out there called Vegan on $4 a day. But you know about the farm subsidies and the amount of money that goes to farmers to grow certain crops to feed animals. Well, that's the true cost of a cheeseburger. It's not 99. A Whopper, it may be 99 cents, but it's thousands of dollars when you think about the deforestation and the land degradation, the land that is being destroyed, putting all these greenhouse gases in the air, which we're going to have to deal with. It's not just the price of a burger that you pay for at a store. There's all the crops that are being used for the farmed fish as well that was not taken into consideration by the UN, all the transport of the crops and the animals, all the waste that we have to deal with. Then we have to house all these animals as well. So there's this building, this whole construction industry that revolves around livestock production. And then, of course, the diminishing biodiversity, which threatens all these other animals that have a right to live on this planet, as well as the potential to find other plants that might be beneficial and have medicinal purposes, etc. So we are just robbing the entire earth in order to satisfy our desire to eat meat and dairy. But the good news, of course, is that, as I mentioned before, greenhouse gases that are produced by livestock production are very short-lived compared to carbon. If we keep putting these out there, if we keep generating nitrous oxide and black carbon, they're much more powerful than carbon, so they're going to cause a lot more damage. On the other hand, if we actually stop putting those out there, if we start to regenerate the land that was occupied by livestock by regenerating forests, etc., that's going to suck the carbon out of the atmosphere. That is going to help speed up the reversal of global warming. So there is a solution, and it begins with what you put on your plate. Next. All right. One back. Okay, so after the UN published this report in 2006, one down, that's right there, they came out with another report last year, and this is a very powerful statement coming from an organization like the UN, and I think it's something that you can take to the average person, because most people don't want to listen to, a very far left-wing, vegan, radical, hippie, whatever, but they're willing to listen to something if you say it's from the UN. And what did the UN say? They said that more than fossil fuels, agricultural activities directly influence ecosystems by occupying large land areas. Unlike fossil fuels, it's difficult to look for alternatives. People have to eat. A substantial reduction of impacts would only be possible with a substantial worldwide diet change away from animal products. So now even the UN is getting on the bandwagon and trying to tell people how important it is. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so just want to press. We're almost done, and we're going to get to the cooking in a second. I just want to finish up. Okay. Well, anyway, what happens is, even if you tell people, there's a lot of ways to approach people and try to convert them to veganism. And one way is, of course, animal rights. And that's something that's very dear and close to many of us, which is for many of us, that's why we became vegan, because the compassion we have for animals. But that argument just doesn't work for a lot of people. They don't care. And maybe they don't care about their health either. But I think a lot of people do care about whether or not we're going to have a planet to live on in 20 years, and whether or not there's going to be food for their grandkids to eat. So this is an argument that flies with a lot of people, and hopefully just go down. Yeah, keep going down. We're almost done. I think I only have like 2 more. But the next issue they have is, these are just some fun facts, is, that's fine, we'll just stop there. What am I going to eat? I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but I love my meat, I love my cheese, I love my milk. And there's so many meat substitutes out there today. So that's kind of an easy one, as a transitional food, if people are really set in their ways. But dairy is really the tricky part. Most people have a hard time giving that up. So they might make that baby step towards being a vegetarian, but becoming vegan is really, really hard because that dairy part. So that's what we're going to do today. You can turn the projector off. Thank you very much, DB, for doing that for me. And we're going to make some cheesy recipes. I've got some recipes there we can pass out so that you can, when you have this talk with your friends, you can whip out a recipe for them and say, try this. So we're going to make 3 kinds of cheese today. We're going to do a ricotta that's made out of almonds, and we're going to stuff shells with them. And then we're going to put a meltable mozzarella on top of that. And then we're going to make some vegan junk food. We're going to make some nachos. But it's not going to be very junky. Well, I do have some junky chips, but the sauce is not junky. Now, I'm going to be a one-pot cook today. 1 pot, 1 blender, 3 items. I'm not going to be washing them, so we're just going to keep, we're going to start out with the whitest ingredient first and then go on to the next thing. So we're going to start out with the almond ricotta, with which we're going to stuff shells. And I've got some almonds here. They're just regular almonds. You can buy them blanched like this once in a while. If you live locally at Berkeley Bowl, that's the only place I've been able to find blanched almonds. So if you can't find blanched almonds, all you have to do is just get regular almonds, and you soak them in water overnight for about 12 hours, and then you have then you can just slip the skin right off like that, and or shoot them across the room like that. Went into that lady's bag. She was not looking, so she will later find an almond in her bag. She's still not paying attention, but anyway. So, all right. She will be surprised. So you can just slip these almonds off, but what you want to do with your almonds is soak them, whether they're blanched or not blanched. You want to soak them for about 12 hours so they absorb water and become soft. Almonds are a very hard nut. They're going to be hard to puree if you don't soak them in water. So I've got about a cup of I'm making about a half a recipe here. And then I just realized, Carly or Patricia, if you could go get me some of the pasta that's cooked up, that would be great. All right, so I'm going to see if this, it works. This is a good day when all of the, everything works. Could you kindly turn the projector off, because I can't see with the light there. Thank you. All right, so this is ever so easy. I teach this in my cooking classes, and people can't believe how easy it is to make ricotta. Now, there's a lot of different ways to make ricotta with tofu, etc., but I find that this is the most realistic in terms of, replicating the flavor and the, if you just unplug it, I think that would be the thing to do. Yeah, thank you so much. It was really bright in my eyes. In terms of texture and flavor and fluffiness. So I'm going to just turn okay, so we have no electricity now. No, it's not going on. It's back on again. All right. Okay, so 30 seconds. I'm going to make a lot of noise. I'm sorry. Yeah, just a. Oh no. That has to go back in there. I'm sorry. The uncooked, just the empty pasta shells. Just the shells that I just need a few shells. The empty ones. All right. So then you get something that looks like this. It's very light. It's very fluffy. You know, and I've got an echo now. Okay. And it looks pretty much like real ricotta, and or ricotta, as my friend from New Jersey says. She says that's how they say it there. So there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. You got your ricotta there. And we're just going to flavor this very, very simply. And I'm not going to wash this. We're going to make the mozzarella in this right afterwards. So it doesn't matter unless somebody is allergic to almonds or something. Okay, is that... the sound is a little strange. Thank you. That's all I needed. Thank you. All right. And I think you can probably put the pasta back in the oven. It's back in there. All right. So I've got some nutritional yeast here. Everyone, I assume, knows what that is? Yes. Okay. Yeast that's grown for nutritional purposes. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of this and just a squirt of lemon juice. Now, in raw food cooking, of course, there's a lot of cheeses made out of nuts. I'm not strictly raw, and I've lost a cap there. I'm not strictly raw, so although this is raw in this state right now, we're actually going to cook this. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here, and then a little bit of garlic. So I've got smash my garlic there. I met this Filipino lady, and she said that, you know how they smash garlic in the Philippines? With a rock. You have to go down to the river and get the rock, right? Because we all have a river right down there with a perfect... So, it's actually hard to find the rock, because I actually did go down to a river, and I couldn't find a rock that was, perfectly smooth and round and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so that's what she said. She said, knives are very dangerous. She likes rocks for smash. And it works really great. It was kind of fun to smash them. All right. So this is it's a very, very easy dish. I have some basil right here. I'm just going to julienne it really quickly. And you can make this in any quantity. Just mix that up. And what we're going to do now is, I think I need a plastic spoon. I've got some empty pasta shells here. And we're going to stuff these. That one is torn. So you should, undercook these slightly so they're very al dente so that they don't tear when you boil them. Thank you so much. And then we're just going to... I forgot my baking dish inside the kitchen. So the idea is you stuff these, you put them in a baking dish, pour some marinara on it, and then you make your cheese. You can bake it just like that, or you can take it a step further and make some meltable mozzarella, which is what we're going to do right now. So let me just set this aside. You get the idea, right? You can stuff not only shells, you can stuff manicotti, you can use this for lasagna. It's basically just a regular cheese that you can use as you would any kind of ricotta. You can even bake with it, make like a ricotta cheesecake. And I do have a cheese book coming out next year with things like cream cheese, etc. in it. But while we're waiting for that dish, and then I'll have my assistant stuff the shells, we're going to go on to the mozzarella, because we got to get started on that. And so, Carly, I will need ice water in a minute in there. So this is also very easy. Now, a lot of cheeses are made, vegan cheeses are made by the addition of something acidic, like citric acid or lemon juice, to give it that sort of lemony flavor. The book that I'm coming out with next year is a cultured cheese book. So the cheeses are cultured or fermented over a period of days or weeks, sometimes months, or maybe just a few hours, depending on what you're making. So what we're going to do is make, and I have to apologize, this recipe, it was supposed to have been printed on the other side, but it did not make it. So you have to write this down. Well, we're going to start out with this is an instant cheese, something you can make in just a few minutes. And because we're not going to do the full culturing in this class, you're going to start out with some yogurt, just some plain soy yogurt. You don't want to have anything with sweeteners in it. You don't want to have, blueberry or raspberry or banana, unless you're into that sort of sweet cheese thing. So we're going to put a cup of yogurt in the blender. And then we're going to, let's see, Rejuvelac is a probiotic. It's made by fermenting grains. Now, the commercial variety that you buy is made with wheat, but you can use any grain and make it at home. There are recipes you can find on the internet. There's a recipe in my book that's coming up as well. You can use, barley or spelt, brown rice, rye, whole rye. So this is something that will give it a little bit more of that cultured flavor. What I like to do with this cheese is I'm going to mix it up. It's going to take about 2 minutes to make in here. I added a half a cup. So we've got a cup of yogurt and a half a cup of Rejuvelac. Yeah, and then I have my oil in there that I've forgotten too. Okay, so it was kind of, John Robbins, he's in here. We were trying to get in here as fast, and, I guess we didn't get all the ingredients in here. So, little forgetful at times. But anyway, all right. So I'm going to you can add a tablespoon of nutritional yeast to this if you want. You don't need to. Because you know how we add nutritional yeast to give it a cheesy flavor? This gets cheesy because it sits overnight and cultures. So you don't actually have to add it. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt. And this is a cheese that's going to melt and brown on your pizza or your lasagna or whatever, or what we're having today. And the only way you can really get it to melt, it's the fat in the cheese that melts. So even though the ricotta doesn't have any oil in it, and the nacho cheese sauce we're going to make also doesn't have any oil in it, I do have to add oil to the mozzarella in order to get it to melt. So I'm going to add about 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 of a cup. Yep. This is just canola oil, just plain old canola oil. And am I forgetting something? No, I am not. That is it. And then we're going to puree this for just 20 seconds or so. Not even. All right. Now, what I would do at this point is I would pour this into a container, like a bowl, and I would let it sit overnight or for 24 hours just to develop character and flavor. So we are going to pretend that it has been 24 hours. And I'm going to pour it into my pot now. And what we're going to do is thicken it. We're going to thicken it and then, I'm sorry?
Letting it sit at room temperature?
You just let it sit at room temperature for about 24 hours just to get just a little bit of that zest or tang. The shorter the length of time, the milder it'll be. So if you want it to be a really mild cheese, maybe 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours. If you like stronger cheeses, you can let it sit out longer. Okay? So the yogurt's already cultured. And different commercial yogurts have a different level of tanginess as well, too. So this is somewhat largely, it depends on your taste and what your goal is. You can add nutritional yeast to it as well if you like more flavor, or you can leave it plain. Now, we're going to thicken this with tapioca flour, which makes it kind of stretchy. So I'm going to add about 5 tablespoons. How many was that? 4? Okay. I can't count and talk at the same time, so I think that's about right. All right. And we're going to add, you can add, this is agar-agar. I'm going to add a tablespoon of agar to that. This is agar-agar powder. So if you use the flakes, you're going to have to use about 3 to 4 tablespoons. I like the powder because it seems to be more consistent. I get more consistent results with it. And if it seems hard to get or expensive, there are many online sources where you can get this very inexpensively. So now let's turn this on. And we're going to cook this until it gets really, really stretchy and gooey. And then what we're going to do is drop it into the ice water bath I have right here, where it will start to solidify into a ball right away. Now, I made a mozzarella last year, a different variety, and that's great for a caprese salad or so, but it doesn't stretch or melt. This is the version that you want to use. If you get my book next year and want to make a mozzarella for your pizza, this is the version to get. So I don't know how long I was talking, so I want to make sure 3:24. I don't have a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is, while this is cooking, we are going to double task and start on the nacho cheese sauce as well, too, which is made in a very similar fashion, because this is going to take a minute to heat up. Okay. Let's see if this is... There. Okay, I think I've got that on now. We hope it's on. Otherwise, we'll have to go to the back kitchen and kind of cook it up or something. All right. So now we're going to make nacho cheese sauce. Now, this is a sauce that I've served to kids and, without any fanfare. I mean, everyone loves nachos. You go to a ball game or whatever, everyone's got nachos, but it's not very healthy. Here's a version that's made without any added oils whatsoever. And the star ingredient is this. It's a butternut squash, which is going to give it that lovely orange color. And I do the cheating method in cooking. Instead of doing things the right way, my mother was a perfectionist. Everything had to be done just right. She was Japanese, of course. No offense to her. It just goes on there. But everything, the way you peeled your garlic, the way you, everything from cooking rice to whatever. The way to do it, the cheating method is you just stick the whole thing in the oven on the rack and just bake it and just forget about it for a while. You don't bother peeling it. Ever try peeling a butternut squash and you just hate it? And so it sits on your shelf forever? Well, now you can just peel it with your hands. It's no big deal. There. So, for something like this, it makes no difference. Now, if you're making caramelized butternut squash, of course you have to peel it beforehand. But for something like this, it makes it really, really easy. I am going to double the recipe. You do have the recipe for that. And it calls for 2 cups of butternut squash. I'm even going to read my recipe so that I don't forget an ingredient, because I have been known to do that as well. So let's stick that in. Let's see. Get that butternut squash in there. That's a little more than a cup. I'm going to put 2 cups in here because I'm making twice the amount. Now, a lot of my recipes in my book are nut-based, like the raw recipes, but they're not entirely raw. Some of them involve cooking, just like here, and then some of them involve air drying, where they dry at room temperature for a couple of weeks or a few months, and get better as they age because they become deeper and more complex in flavor. Today, we're doing kind of the easier ones, the ones that you can eat within either a day or minutes. And this recipe is one of the easiest because you can eat it immediately. And the trick and the secret to this ingredient, to this nacho sauce, is not only the butternut squash, but the yogurt that we're going to add to it. That's going to give it that sort of cultured, cheesy flavor. So I need a cup and a half of yogurt because I'm doubling my recipe. So there's a cup, and there is a half a cup.
Can you use coconut yogurt or different?
I think coconut yogurt is a little sweet for this. You can make, now I make a yogurt, I've made yogurt very successfully with almond milk and cashew milk. I have a video on YouTube that I did with Supreme Master on making yogurt out of soy and cashews, and you can do that as well. That'll be in my cookbook as well, too. I have to stir this. Now, what's going to happen with this yogurt is that, of course, you don't have a, what's it called, a mirror with a the behind me, so you can't see what it looks like. It's going to start looking really lumpy, and it's going to look wrong. And you're going to think you screwed up, and you did not. Eventually, it starts getting glossy and smooth again. But you just have to, get over that fear factor when, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And it'll be just fine. So that's going to cook up and it's kind of getting gooey already. But you want to cook it until there's a nice sheen to it and it's really, really stretchy. And then we're going to drop it into the ice water with the ice cream scooper that I do not have either. So, but the ice cream scooper is the perfect thing to use because it forms perfect balls. So we have to do make-believe. All right, let's go back to the nacho cheese here. I've got the yogurt in here, and I've got the butternut squash in here. I'm going to add a little bit of cashew nuts just for richness. So I've got a half a cup, which is twice the amount in the recipe because we're making twice the recipe. Okay? And then I need a liquid, so I'm going to add water. And I'm going to add the same amount that I did of the yogurt, which is 1.5 cups. And someone tell me if I'm not following my own recipe, because I do get confused. Okay. All right, then I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. So that's 10 tablespoons, which is a little bit more than half a cup. That's a clean one. So I think I pre-measured that so I wouldn't have to do the thinking. Oop. This is almost ready. It's getting kind of lumpy, and it's going to be smooth in a second. And you really, really want to cook it for the agar to have the gelling purposes, to develop the gelling capacity of agar. All right, and this is going to be a chipotle nacho sauce. So it's going to have a little bit of heat to it. And I've got a chipotle pepper here and adobo sauce, and I'm going to drop 1 in there. I would normally start with just a half if you're just making 1 batch because you don't want it too spicy. You can always add more if you like later. And then once again, I'm going to add the tapioca flour. So, yeah. Yes. Yes, it's purchased in adobo sauce. This is 6? Okay. I'm going to put in 1 more for good measure because so yeah, that's just, you can buy, okay. And then 1 more ingredient, which I almost forgot because I'm not reading my recipe, is that the butternut squash is a little bit sweet and you want to offset that and balance it. So we're going to add a half an onion, and this is actually a whole onion that's been quartered. It's a really big onion. And now I'm going to burn this, so I got to get back to this for a second. All right. So this is ready now. It's really gloppy. Do you see that? How thick it is? And I don't have, I think you've got them back in the oven, right? I think we need, oh, they're finished. Okay. I would start serving because it's already 2:30 and we need to get people fed because I think we only have until 3:30. Okay. So I don't have an ice cream scooper, so they're not going to be perfectly round. But I'm going to take it out and drop it into my ice water there. And within a few minutes, let me take it off of the heat there, they're going to start hardening up, clumping, getting firm. And then you've got this very, very fast, it's like buffalo mozzarella that you buy in the water, only it melts and browns. And you're going to see that on the shells that we're bringing out, that the cheese actually browns. So, okay, I can do 1 more. And it's stretchy and gooey. There. And put that in there for a few minutes. And it takes a few minutes to set up, for the agar to set up. So we're going to let that go. I'm going to keep that heat on, and then did I add salt to this? No, I did not. Where's the salt? Okay, I already lost my cap. So 2 teaspoons. Well, I'm doubling the recipe. So that's probably about 2 teaspoons, right? I don't even know where my teaspoons went, so, okay. I'm never this disorganized. No, of course I am. Okay. Okay, so now we've lost power. It is? So, yeah, I've lost power. I'm sorry? Oh, no, thank you. Try it again? Okay. No. No, it's on.
This is on. That's on.
It's on. No, it's the light. There's a light that goes on. It's not on. There's no. No, normally okay, well, it's this is cool. This is off too, is the thing. There's no light on here either. So you know what? If I can just get one, if I can plug this in, then I can unplug it and then switch to the other one. So let me see if that. Try it now. I already unplugged it. Oh, it's on now. Okay. All right. It's off again. I think there's too many things plugged in there. I think we need to maybe unplug the projector or... Okay, will that reach? Here. There we go. Okay. All right, there we go. That worked, and I think this is working now. So now we're going to pour this. So you see the color, because of the butternut squash and the chipotle, already looks like nacho sauce. And what's going to happen in a few minutes, because of the tapioca flour that we've added to this, it's going to get really, really thick and gooey. So I'm going to turn this on high, and we're going to let that go for a minute. Meanwhile, let's check out these balls here that are now, it's going to need a few more minutes, but as you can see, they're beginning to form. Yeah, so they're almost there. You know, another 20 minutes or so they need to really, really form a ball that is going to be like mozzarella. You know, the buffalo mozzarella is very, very soft. It's not a firm one. If you want a firmer one, you can increase the amount of agar to it. And you know, if you want to have something to slice for your caprese salad that's thicker. But this is like a very soft buffalo mozzarella. And it looks like mozzarella. You know, it looks like a mozzarella ball, so it's kind of fun. And I've got Carly and, yes?
Last year when you were here and you did cheese.
Yeah.
You made the buffalo
Mozzarella out of...
coconut, and then there's another one, and I've been doing with the coconut. Is that changed now?
No, that was the Gruyere.
Oh, I see.
I made a Gruyere that had coconut oil in it. Yeah, so I made a buffalo mozzarella out of cashews. Yes, it was out of cashews, but it doesn't melt. That one, it looks and tastes just like mozzarella, and it's great for a caprese salad or a sandwich, but it doesn't melt and stretch. I mean, it softens, but it doesn't, you know, I like it to melt, you know. So if I put this mozzarella there's a Swiss dish called raclette. Has anyone ever had that? You put the cheese in a pan and and it gets kind of brown and stretchy, and this actually gets crispy if you cook it in a frying pan. It looks just like cheese. But the one I made last year does not.
Yeah, but that Gruyere, the other one
The Gruyere,
Make it every 2 weeks. I make
oh, you do? Okay. The Gruyere, it's really weird. The coconut oil gives it that Gruyere flavor. It's so strange. I can't figure out why. It's that combination. So that'll be in the book. That makes a great sauce too. Today we're doing very simple, a little simpler than what we did last year. More, a little more on the traditional side in terms of what you can serve to just the average person who's looking for simple vegan substitutes to make this a healthier planet. So they are busily serving, and what we're going to do is when they're done, is that getting hot? Okay, I didn't stick my finger in there, really. Well, I won't double dip, I promise, okay? Okay, I think I probably should have pureed this another second. It's not quite as pureed as I want it to be, but the electrical thing that's going to take a second there. So I've got my 2 books coming out. If you like this demo and you want to see more recipes, you can go online to Miyoko.com. I've got a TV show. We have an episode. They're full-length TV shows, like 21 minutes with commercial break time, even though we've never had a commercial on them. But we have a show called It's Nacho Cheese, which has this recipe in it. And that's actually up for a WAVE award. We're one of 3 finalists for the Informational Lifestyle category. And this is an award for public and community media. So the award ceremony is next Saturday, and I'll find out whether or not we won. I mean, it'd be kind of neat if a vegan TV show, got even this rinky-dink award. It would still be something. So it's at least getting it out there in front of people. We're waiting for that to come out. And this is going to take a few more minutes. While we're waiting for this, are there any questions? Yeah.
Someone in the audience asked if your PowerPoint presentation, which is excellent, is available on a website, or if they can get a hold of that.
I will make it available on the website. But after I leave here, there's going to be a real pro talking about this, Dr. Richard Offenlander.
That was fantastic.
Really? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I just tried to put it into bite-sized morsels. Yeah. Just, everything has to be bite-sized. You have to be able to eat it. So, yeah. So we're going to. So, yes. Yeah.
Number one is I hear that we're not supposed to eat raw almonds because of either the drug inhibitor or whatever's on the outside.
Yeah.
That's question one. Question two is, do you need to remove the brown skin after soaking, and if so, why?
Okay. Well, I'm not an expert. I just cook. So, but that being said, most almonds are pasteurized. It's very, very hard to get unpasteurized almonds. I only know one place in the Bay Area. I mean, you can get unpasteurized at Good Earth. And I've had mold problems with them. So most almonds are pasteurized, so that isn't really an issue for the most part. The soaking in the water and removing the skin is important. You have to soak it in the water if you wanted to get this texture. The removal of the skin is completely aesthetic. If you want white, fluffy ricotta, remove the skin. If you don't care, then don't bother. But it's kind of fun. Do you have an almond in your bag, by the way? It's kind of fun. You can have an almond shooting contest with your friends and see how far across the room you can shoot them. So, you can put your kids to work or whatever. So, okay, this is beginning to thicken. I have to tell you, I didn't puree the onions as long as I should have. So it's because I was concerned about... so it could be a little smoother, but it's beginning to get kind of, if you can see. But the important key to this sauce is when it starts to thicken like this, it's still not ready. You have to cook it until it's shiny. There has to be a sheen to it, or the tapioca is going to still be starchy. And you don't want starchy, you want smooth and velvety on your tongue. So you want to make sure that it's been bubbling for a few minutes, and that it's nice and gooey and stretchy, and it's got a nice sheen to it. So what we're going to do, I think, is maybe the ladies have the samples, can bring them over here, and we'll just ladle we'll ladle some sauce on top of the chips, and then we'll get them out to you guys so we can eat and clean up here before. What? Oh, I guess okay. Oh, people bring them out. I mean, people get up. Oh, they have to go up and get it. So it's going to be self-serve, I think. But not yet, not yet. Wait a minute, not yet, because there's no cheese sauce.
Okay, so maybe I'll come over there and then put the cheese sauce over there.
Yeah. This isn't quite ready yet.
Okay,
Let me ask you another question. How spicy do you guys like things? All right. I'm going to throw in the rest of it. No? Spicy? Mild? Medium. All right. I'll just add a little bit more.
You take the seeds out, right?
I'm just going to add a tiny bit more to this. And because it's still, unfortunately, it's still not ready. It's beginning to bubble, but it's not gooey enough.
Dr. Overlander will finish it, I guess.
He'll finish it, yeah. Yeah, the chili that's on the pepper went in here. And it adds kind of a nice smokiness. If you don't like it at all, you can leave the chipotle out and you can still get a nacho. You can get a queso for your nachos. But it's just a nice addition. You can add it if you like. You don't need to. Of course, it's going to make it a little bit more spicy, and we're going to try to hold off on the spiciness. But as you see, the tapioca really makes it kind of gooey, kind of like cheese sauce. And it does not work with cornstarch or arrowroot or potato starch. I've tried all the starches, and tapioca is the one that works the best for creating that stretchy, gooey, cheesy consistency.
We have a lot more people here, then we might have separate shells for us, or maybe we can make them.
You might, yeah. I think we're going to have the yeah, we don't have enough shells, it turns out. So I thought we did, but. Is anyone here interested only in nachos and not the shells? No. Okay. Well, by the way, there's Anna, my publisher, is back there. I will be selling copies of my first two cookbooks, The Now and Then Epicure and Japanese Cooking, and they're available for a special discount. So I will be back there if anyone is interested in books at the end of this demo. I think, you know what, I would let this go for about 3 or 4 more minutes, but I don't think we have time. So I think we're just going to, if there's any starchy residue, I want you to use your imagination and imagine it's not there, okay? Just know if you cook it a little bit longer, it'll get gooier and smoother in texture. So I'm going to take this over there. All right, here. Oh, wait, unless you want sauce, unless you don't want sauce.
Thank you.
Here.
Miyoko was brilliant. Brilliant demonstration.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll have a little bit. Great. How long do you cook the buffalo thing? How long?
The buffalo.
Mozzarella. How long do you?
Oh, you
All right,
you just
one per person.
yeah.
We don't have enough. Thank you. I love that you're not a perfectionist.
Oh, well, my mother was so.
Fabulous.
Oh, thank you.